Hello and welcome back to part 6 of this web design tutorial for teens. In this part we're going to take a closer look at styling in CSS. First, as usual, we create our index.html, then our external CSS file. You may be wondering why I'm naming our HTML file index instead of home or test or something. This is because when we upload a folder to our HTML files on the internet, the website will automatically search for a file named index in our folder. Then it classifies it as the home page and then redirects someone there when they access your site. So right now it won't do anything, but it's a good practice. Now when we set up our HTML file as usual, we will add the head tag, and then we'll include a link to our CSS file. Now we will add a title in our body tag using h1. We'll give it a class name of title, and then go into our CSS file. Now we can type dot and then the class name. However, we do not have to use a class name. We can just use an element name to style all of the elements in our HTML file. Now if we wanted to style all of the h1 elements, we could just type h1 with no dot. Anyway, now that we've typed the class name, we add brackets. Everything inside of these brackets, or curly braces, will affect the class we wrote before. Anything outside of them won't be affected. You may also notice that I'm putting the brackets under the class name and not next to it or on the same line. This won't make a difference in your code, it just makes it more readable. Now let's change the color of our title class. Let's make it red. We do that by typing color, followed by a colon, followed by the color we want, and then a semicolon. Let's save it and then view it in our web browser. Now our title is red. Now to better understand how much space h1 takes up, we can reveal the border around our title. To do this, we use the border style element. Just like when we change the color, we type a border and then colon and then the border style we want. We can choose from a lot of border options like the color and thickness. We only want to reveal the border, so we type solid. This will make the border a solid line around the element. If we save and then refresh the page, we can see that the border around h1 is the width of the entire page. This is because h1 is a block tag. Now if we use a tag that's inline, like the B tag, which makes text bold, and give it a class name, then if we go into our style sheet and then change the border style to solid, and then refresh our page, you can see that the border is the same length as the sentence. Feel free to experiment with these border styles. There are many different types of borders, like dashed and dotted. We can also change the font styling of HTML tags, instead of just using the italics and bold tags. If we go into the title classes style, and then type font dash style, then a colon, and then italic, we can see that now the title is in italics. Now back in HTML, if we add some paragraphs and then add some text inside of them, and then give them all the same class name, we can edit their style to have a border. Now we can see that all of the paragraphs have their own border. However, there is a space between each of the paragraphs. This space is called the margin. We can remove these margins by using the margin property. We just type margin and then type how much of a margin we want. In this case, we want to remove it, so we just type colon and then 0. Now there is no space between the paragraphs. Now what if we have two classes in one tag, each with the opposite style? This will result in the computer accepting the last style we write as the final word. If we want the computer to select a specific style as the final word, even if it's before the other styles, we can use the word exclamation important. Thank you for watching. This has been part 6 of this web design tutorial for teens. Please stay tuned.